Hello, and welcome to the Flavor Lab, where I like to answer questions that nobody really asked. Like, what happens when you try to turn cheese into chocolate? Can you brew cocoa like coffee? Or what would macaroni and cheese ice cream taste like? So today I'm gonna answer another one of these questions, except for this time somebody did actually ask the question. A few weeks ago on Reddit, I saw somebody post something along the lines of, why isn't there peanut butter milk? And it got me thinking, I mean, why isn't there? It sounds like it might be pretty good. We've got chocolate milk, we've got strawberry milk, there's even some newer milks like banana milk and vanilla milk, but for some reason I've never seen peanut butter milk. Now, is that because they're kind of worried about triggering people who have peanut allergies, or does it just not taste very good? So today, let's find out by actually making some peanut butter milk. Now, you might think that it's just a matter of grabbing a spoonful of peanut butter and putting it in the milk and stirring it, but that really won't work. And I'm gonna jump into why a little bit later, but really, it just has to do with the amount of oil that's in the peanuts. We can just take a few simple steps to kind of fix this and end up with the peanut butter milk. And the stuff I ended up with was, well, you'll see. So let's actually make some peanut butter milk today. And to do that, I'm gonna actually start by making some peanut butter because it's fun and it's easy and, you know, it doesn't hurt to do it yourself. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Enough talking, let's go. All right, so now let's go ahead and get started. Now, as I said, I'm gonna be making my peanut butter from scratch, which means starting from actual peanuts. So I have here some unroasted raw peanuts, as they're called, which need to actually be roasted. And roasting basically brings out that peanut buttery flavor and gives it that nice golden color. If you were to make peanut butter out of the stuff as it is right now, it wouldn't be very flavorful and actually it might be kind of gross. So what we need to do is actually just roast these in an oven for about 20 minutes. So to do that, I've got a nice little tray here and I'm gonna put a little bit of parchment down so that nothing sticks to the pan, pour the peanuts in, and then just put them into a 350 Fahrenheit oven or about 176 degrees Celsius. And we're just gonna roast this for about 20 minutes. And really there's not much to do other than around maybe 15 minutes or so, pulling out that tray and giving it a nice shake so that, you know, all of the sides are in contact with that pan and don't get heated up too much. Once our 20 minutes is completely up, we just pull it out and just look at that color. I'm just gonna let it cool on the top of the oven for a little bit. Now, as it cools, we can start to take the steps that we need so that this peanut butter is gonna mix in with the milk later. Now, as I said earlier, the oil in the peanuts are not gonna really get along with the milk itself. So one thing we can really do is to try to sop up as much oil as possible. Now, I kind of had a hope that maybe with the heat and some paper towels, I might be able to get a wick up some of the oil from the peanuts. So I just placed a paper towel on top of the peanuts as they cooled, just to see how much I could actually kind of extract from there. Answer was basically nothing. So I decided to kind of help it along by crushing these nuts up just ever so slightly in a mortar and pestle, just tossing them in while they're still warm and just kind of crushing them a little bit, and then laying them back out onto the tray, putting a paper towel on top of it. And here I was actually able to kind of get more oil out of it, but still not the best. So I decided to actually just go straight on to making the peanut butter. So to do this, I'm just gonna take the peanuts, pour them into a food processor, and then just kind of pulse this on and off for a little bit until the nuts kind of really start to get chopped. And then I just kind of let this go for another 2 or 3 minutes on a constant whir. And at that point, we really start to see that the peanuts are kind of sticking to themselves. The oil is kind of really coming out of the peanut butter, and we're actually, we're forming a paste, which is exactly what we want. I then laid this back out onto the tray, and then now actually the oil is coming to the top on its own. And so now what we need to do is just put some paper towels on here and let them soak. And I came back to it about 20 minutes later and we already were able to get a lot of oil out. And you can see this is actually the third paper towel or so that I've used to extract the oil from here. Now, obviously there's a lot of other, probably more efficient ways to extract oil. I just wanted to do something that was a little bit easier. So now that I've kind of extracted some of the oil, you can see that the peanut butter that we're left with is a little bit kind of pastier. It's not very smooth like you would get out of a jar. Now, speaking of out of a jar, if you have one of those natural peanut butters that doesn't have these stabilizers in them, the oil will separate out on its own naturally. And you could just kind of pour that off and then get to that peanut butter that's underneath. That's essentially what we're going for. We want a peanut butter that has a little bit less oil in it so that it gets along with our milk a little bit better. Once we get to this stage and we got this nice pasty peanut butter, it's time to actually make our peanut butter milk. So to do this, I'm just going to put some milk into a blender, and I'm just gonna put a few spoonfuls of this peanut butter. I've never made this before, so I really don't know what the ratio is. If you decide to make this yourself, you might also have to kind of experiment with the ratio, but actually what I ended up with was perfect, I think. So I would say 2 spoons to 1 glass of milk is pretty good. And then just turn it on and give it a whir, and we're just gonna keep going and see how it turns out. Eventually, you can end up with something that's pretty smooth. I don't see any more clumps of peanut in here. I had thought about filtering it, but I don't think it's actually really necessary. We can just pour this into a glass and we are ready to taste it. All right, I've done it. So here's the peanut butter milk. Let's see how it tastes. Honestly, it's pretty good. I would definitely drink that. That's actually very good. It's got a nice like sweetness from the milk, and it really complements the peanut butter. It almost, I don't know, it's fantastic. I definitely recommend making this. Unless you have a peanut allergy, and then I don't recommend making this. It's actually quite refreshing, and I can imagine drinking this during the summer. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any more weird ideas. Bye.